Hello Orchid friends, welcome back to my channel. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, staying healthy and staying safe. Today we're looking at my Phalaenopsis Royal Yellow. This is a grocery Phal, and this video consists of a couple different clips. First of all, its growing pattern, how it flowered, and then also after flowering, the repot that I did. So this is more of a comprehensive video for this entire blooming cycle. So this orchid, after its previous repot, it started to grow lots of really thick roots inside the media, which was great. And then as time went on, it just continued to produce bigger and newer leaves. So that was always a good sign. And then when the weather cooled down enough, it started to put on a spike, all as expected, because this orchid was really hardy, has never had any major issue. So I just continue with the regular typical care that I give to all my orchids. And that really is, first of all, fertilizer, I only use 25% quarter strength fertilizer. And depending on the season, if it's summertime, the water amount given to this orchid is around quarter cup. And when it's winter time, when the temperature is colder, where evaporation is slower, then I usually reduce the water amount to closer to 1/8 of a cup. So this orchid just really is a hardy orchid, and the reason I say that is, other than the fertilizer amount being fixed to be 25% and then the water amount ranges between quarter cup to 1/8 of a cup, this orchid being in the semi-hydro setup has always been very little, there's no fuss at all, this orchid. Now, this time around, I decided to use a stake and try to train the flower spike, because I know this orchid has a tendency to have slightly longer spike, and I just don't wish it to be top heavy, because where I place this orchid is on a bookshelf by two windows, kind of at a corner. And it's kind of high, so if it gets top heavy, I was just afraid that it would topple down from the shelf. And also, another reason is to save some horizontal space. This orchid also is vigorous in that it loves to produce aerial roots. Often, last time I had to repot it, but was because it has some aerial roots, and this time around, later in the video, you'll see it also has enough aerial roots that I just decided that it really is time to repot. And thankfully, it was a good time to do it, because inside the media, there were a couple roots that were old and have shown signs of rotting, so it was a really good timing. But anyway, back to this orchid's bloom. This time around, it only gave me a couple of flowers. It wasn't as many as 5 when I first got it, or 4 or 6 the last 2 times it bloomed. I can't remember exactly. But this time around, the number of flowers definitely decreased. So that's another sign to tell me that this orchid either needs more fertilizer, a brighter location, or simply needs to, be reactivated, quote unquote reactivated. And that means, a repot sometimes may do this orchid some good, because it has a lot of aerial roots hanging out. And if you can put the roots back into the container, it would have more roots to take up nutrients and moisture. I really like this orchid's flower pattern. It has the dots, the color, the pink, the purple, the yellow, the orange, the reddish color. It always reminds me of, my other orchid called Sesame also has that very dotted pattern on the flower. This orchid is not fragrant, and we usually joke, my friends and I, we usually joke about this orchid being a tester, and because the way it looks, it almost looked like it may have Bellina in the Parentage, and actually it's not the case. It actually has 30% Amboinensis, 25% Venosa, and then some Amabilis, and then something else. So it doesn't have bellina, but then just the way that the bottom two sepals look, we thought that it was very close to a species, but it's actually more of a mix, more of a hybrid. Anyway, so here you can see I didn't have to trim off a whole lot of dead tissue, and it has a lot of aerial roots to go into the pot, so I was really happy that I chose that time to give this orchid a repot, because I really believe that this orchid, once repotted, it would get rejuvenated, reactivated, because more roots are in the media. And this is just a couple photos just to give you a sense of what it looked like when I finished the repotting. The container I use is a 12-ounce container with ventilation holes on the sides, but this time around, instead of using semi-hydro, I drilled holes at the bottom of the inner cup. But then because I still love using double cup method, so I can go between semi-hydro by leaving some water at the bottom of it, maybe just a quarter of an inch. And if not, I let it completely drain out, then it would just become simply a inorganic media traditional method, meaning you have drainage holes at the bottom. And the outer blue cup really is just for aesthetic and for blocking out sunlight, so that there is no algae likelihood inside the media. And the outer cup, this ceramic pot really, or clay pot really, is just to give it some weight so that it won't be top heavy, because this orchid has a tendency to be top heavy from time to time. And here is the video clip to give you a sense of what it looked like after I gave water. This video clip was a few weeks after the repot. It looked really good, and you can see the roots are still showing signs of really good green root tips, so that means there's active growth there. And then the leaf was also enlarged, the newest leaf was also enlarging, so I know this orchid was doing really well, and it's really well on its way to another great, I guess, growing season to then, initiate spike in the coming winter. A couple of things I'm thinking about doing differently with this orchid is maybe I should give it some slow release fertilizer, so that way it would have a little bit more nutrients than the quarter strength I give to most of my orchids, and see if it'll produce more bloom next time. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!